From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Unmarked Non-Sequential Bevan.
Unmarked. Just put me in the bag and drop me
with
over
a dye pack. I feel like you are unmarked and non-sequential.
No, I am unmarked and non-sequential.
Yeah. I feel like I think that's a very good description of you. Don't ask me how or why, but I was like, I got to use that because it is a good description of Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you agree. I'm glad we're on the same page for once. So this episode is brought to you by our friends at Graveline Tours. If you go to graveline.rip, you can put in the promo code area Tipster40. You get a healthy 40% off of any of the tours that you may want to go on if you're in the Southern California area. And I will tell you that Tipsters Emily and Alicia are in huge trouble because they sent us a $100 gift certificate to any tour on Graveline.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they know that they're in for like spankings next time I'm in Kentucky. No, not the good kind, Joshua. Please calm down. No, the bad kind. They're in big trouble.
Oh, that's very sweet.
It is incredibly kind of them to do that for us. I probably shouldn't be like talking about it, but I'm going to talk about it. So just so you know, Graveline does offer gift certificates because we got one and we're going to go on a couple of tours, my friend, whether you want to or not.
I'm excited.
Okay, good. You're going with me.
Yeah.
I'm very glad.
Yeah, the Black Dahlia tour
starts in January,
soon, right? Yeah.
Which this will be, I believe, the first episode of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. On purpose.
Yes, you did. Oh, sorry. Sometimes I think that Josh was trying to kill me.
I coat my appendages in oysters,
shrimp, and lobster, and then rubs it all over me and then wonders why my throat's closing. Yeah, he acts like he's hugging me or squeezing my arm, patting my back and support. Nope, he's trying to kill me. I apologize, Tipsters. I had to pause because we do not have a cough button. Although a lot of like fancy places don't. Conan O'Brien complained to his staff about not having a cough button. And they have like a gazillion-dollar studio built for him.
Yeah, that studio's gorgeous with that like infinity blackness. Like I don't even know how you can do that.
Right, but he doesn't have a cough button.
Yeah, it's
all edited out by Matt Gorley, I guess, the producer, and they were talking about all of the vocal tics that they all have. So before Conan talks or something, he goes like, he makes a little noise. He says it's a code to the person who's recording it that he's about ready to talk, like, you know, do-do-do-do or blah, 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 something like that, you know?
Sure.
And I would like Matt to cut out every single time I say, you know, or like. I don't say like that often, but when I do, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I have many more vocal tics than I would ever like to believe. Maybe I should join a local group of the Toastmasters.
You should.
Where they beat it out of you if you have...
They ring a bell every
in your
time,
face.
Every time you say,
Yeah. Yeah. No, they have a cattle prod.
So...
And they go straight for your genitals. Yeah, if you...
Somebody's standing right next to the lectern.
Yeah, right. If you say, yeah. Good times.
You put the leads,
on the nips. Yeah. And they turn it up to 10. Right.
Just every time.
Yeah, tase your nips every time you say That would be bad. I would end up with like burnt clothing, and it would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. So this is a public service announcement for Joshua.
Oh.
I was walking through our local mall, which I don't go to that often, like probably a third of the stores are closed, and it's a beautiful mall, in our area. But I never go through this side of the mall by what used to be Sears, which is now empty. It was an anchor store. There's the Stand, the hamburger place that so delish.
Oh, did you go?
Oh yeah. I met someone for lunch and I was like, I need to come back a lot.
I still haven't been to this one.
You have to.
Okay.
So good. But as I was walking through that store, I found, where to park so you're not being rushed by everyone at Christmas time, and went upstairs.
Oh, you did find a good spot.
Because it's that side of the mall is sort of abandoned.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So I park close and I go up. And as I'm walking through the kind of desolate hallway out to the patios part of the stand, there's a vending machine. And it says rapid tests. In this vending machine, you can get rapid tests for COVID, pregnancy, STDs.
Oh.
So you don't have to go to the doctor anymore.
Oh, perfect. Because that's really the only reason I go.
I know.
Thank you.
You go like every 10 years when shit's dripping out of your penis or whatever. So I just wanted to let you know you can go to a vending machine. You don't have to go to your doctor anymore.
And it's like a home test?
Yes.
Like you just...
They call rapid home tests. There's 8 different kinds.
Wow.
I didn't even see what the other ones were. Probably like Ebola or something. I mean...
All right.
It was fascinating. So I just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah, I know you are.
I mean, I'm going to wait till after Christmas though. God, the mall is just crazy.
You don't want to get any as like stocking stuffers for any of your friends. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah.
Here, I got you this.
Hope you don't have a UTI, but if you do, you'll know right now.
Here it is.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to know the results, but if you want to share,
you want to know, right? Right. Yeah, because you're a giver.
Yeah.
You're a giver. That's your crime.
Yeah.
Okay, so slight update on last week's episode, which is Hugo Selensky. And, it's such a weird case where he escapes, does a great job of escaping, but then turns himself in. It was, he was in prison 4 days and high security and fucking gets out. And the guy who escaped with him, was like permanently disabled, broke his back or something. So the reason we knew about this case is Dr. Tony. And then, because I guess there are no accidents, even in my world, everything is basically an accident. I need to apologize to about 208 of the tipsters who downloaded an episode before I was able to delete it. And it was the raw audio of the Hugo Selensky case. And at the beginning, Joshua and I talk to Matthew and we say terrible things about penises and scrotums and
always
and that not always. It was just that one week.
Yeah, okay, just that one time.
Just that one time. I think we were talking about a Patrice O'Neill bit or something, and then everything just goes south from there. So anyway, I apologize to the 208 of you who were probably horribly offended by the way we talk. But when we're talking to Matthew, that
I'm saying that was one of the most mild Matt things ever.
So God bless that man, he cuts all of our shit out at the beginning of the episode. There's usually like 3 to 6 minutes of us saying horrible things, sometimes even including Matthew, but most of the time just trying to like see if one of us can make him like go apoplectic or vomit or something. So
this beautiful, this kind, giving youth pastor, angelic man. Yeah. And we don't even get to see the reaction. That's the part that...
No, we don't. I think he would tell us if he were horrified. I hope he would. I've asked his opinion before, like, hey, can I say this? And he goes, I think that word is very polarizing. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, no, God bless him. So anyway, I apologize to those of you who heard it. Please forgive us, probably mostly me. But so I accidentally released the raw audio, but it's going to be, you'll have heard this hopefully last week if you're listening in order. And what I got was phenomenal information. Dr. Tony said the reason that he had referred this case to the podcast, and it was like a while ago. It was like 6 or 8 weeks ago, maybe he had sent it. It was like, I think it was back in October, maybe November. I was like, he said, here's a rabbit hole for you to go down. I'm like, I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole. And then I went down the rabbit hole.
Right.
He actually will be playing a part, and hopefully the thing I had mentioned at the end of the episode was, why was there still one body that was unidentified?
Right.
If there were 5 people and I thought they were all buried, but they are not all buried. They were in different arenas of death. He said, well, I identified 3 people, and I will be working with another company, another wonderful company that we mention probably every 3rd episode here, to try and identify this unidentified person.
Cool.
So here's hoping, that the reason that Hugo's case came up is because he had been denied for another, for post-conviction relief, like his attorney had not fucked up.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So it was in the news. And I think that's why Dr. Falsetti saw it. And then he let us know his involvement to a certain extent. I actually got some information, a report he did on the bodies and the bone fragments, and I can't tell you all the details, but let's just say, yeah, I told you. Don't act like you don't know. I love Joshua's like, oh, really? What's happening? Where am I? What are we talking about?
Oh, that thing that you told me 10 minutes ago?
10 minutes ago. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. But I also wanted to say the addendum to this amazing email that he sent us was, I love McDonald's hash browns.
Who doesn't?
The guy who tried to rob the McDonald's because he only got 2 and wanted 3 and held him up with a gun. Yeah. So I don't think Dr. Tony uses a gun to get his hash browns.
I mean, you could just pay the $3.
Yes, $2.99. You're right. It was like $2.99 for an extra hash brown.
Yeah.
But this guy shows up in the walkthrough with a gun. I mean, the drive-through. He walks up to the drive-through with a gun. Yeah. Right. I'm going to bet Dr. Tony has never done that to get a hash brown.
I'm going to guess no. Yeah.
And I will tell you, we had a Zoom call not long ago. He is a lean, mean fighting machine. I don't see him eating a lot of hash browns.
Oh, is he fit?
He looks like a tennis player or swimmer or something.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't mean he looks like a giant football player, but he just looks very in shape.
Gotcha.
For his age, which I'm guessing is about 107.
Perfect.
No, I'm kidding. I think he's a Highlander. I actually have no idea how old he is.
Okay.
He could be 40. He could be 107.
Or he could be like 29 and you're
29 and I've made him feel really bad.
He looks great for his age.
Yeah, he's got great, like salt and pepper hair.
Right.
So he's 29-year-old with salt and pepper hair and a good bod. Yeah, okay, whatever. He'll get over it. He seems like a resilient guy. Yeah. He's resilient. So anyway, thank you for that information, Dr. Tony.
Sweet.
So this episode is going to be Ohio-centric. And it's going to be Tipster Jerry-centric because he sent these stories in 2 different emails, which I'm going to get to. It's 2 different women, unsolved cases. One found recently or identified recently, one still missing. Okay. But before we get to that, a kind and wonderful thing that Tipster Jerry did in defense of poor sweet Joshua, who didn't really need defending, but it was so sweet. Oh. I was like, I can't read this because I will cry. Right. So Joshua is going to read a part of the email we got from Jerry.
Yeah, no, I didn't need defending, but I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
So Jerry wrote, be assured I listen to every week's release. That fucktard who bashed Joshua can crawl back under the rock they came from. Having been a longtime listener, Joshua has brought you back from the depths that you existed in after Mark's departure. I listened to others who have sat with you, and the chemistry was never there until he came. It's not all about having another there yapping like a little dog. It's about comfort and ease, which he brings you. Tipster Nation knows this, and we love both of you together.
Is that not the most incredibly beautiful thing?
Thank you, Jerry.
I sent it to Joshua because I wanted him to know. And, I mean, I think Jerry sums it up better than I ever could.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I agree. I mean, I know what my job is here.
Do you really, though?
No,
Do you remember why you're here?
Sometimes.
It's bone fragments?
Right.
Yeah, right. From 10 minutes ago?
No, I
don't want you to think of it as a job because I don't pay you.
Oh, okay. Every once in a while, you bring me on a sponsored tour. Or something. No, I mean, my role, I should say, I don't know anything about true crime, and
You do. You know a lot. You don't
have-
think you do, but you do.
I come in and I come in with a curiosity that I think a lot of your listeners have, and I have an appreciation for your storytelling. That, I mean, this podcast is incredible, and wouldn't have listened to true crime until now I get to hear it firsthand, and that's my role, is to hear it. And yeah, I don't that fucktard was. I don't have a lot to contribute other than, oh really? Wait, what? In the yard? They buried how many bodies? Or,
you contribute
whatever.
A lot. Stop that right now.
But I think that is
the word fucktard has popped up 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
One time in Jerry's, and these are people who do not know each other. These are from different parts of the country. Once in Jerry's email, which made me laugh so fucking hard because he does not curse. He's not like me.
That's awesome.
So Jerry is a retired fireman paramedic, and he works in like a coronary-ish kind of industry.
Gotcha.
And the other one was my best friend Angela said someone used it in a meeting.
Oh.
And called someone a fucktard.
Oh, jeez.
And I almost hurt myself laughing. And then the third and possibly my favorite version of fucktard is my grief counselor, Karen, who referred to a cop who is not investigating a very important witness's statements as a fucktard. Oh, and I almost shit my pants because she is this like very calm Buddha, like, nice. Serene human being. And she goes, well, if that fucktard would do his job. And I was like, what'd you just say? It was like amazing. So the word fucktard, I think, might be important in my life. So thank you, Jerry, for this. So just to let you know, several people sent me this story, and I'm sure it's because of the location. But the second case was definitely sent only by Jerry. So again, it's an Ohio-centric episode. A lot going on with this first one, and the second one needs attention, and Jerry is right. So I was glad he sent it to me. These were over a couple of weeks that he sent these. So this one, a young girl from Cincinnati, finally identified. She went missing in 1979, and her remains, unidentified remains, were found on the Las Vegas Strip. So far away from home. She had gone out west with 2 traveling companions, 2 men, and she was looking for her biological father. Okay. So she was known for 44 years as Sahara Sue Doe. Wow. Sahara Sue, sometimes Sahara Sue Desert Doe. I don't know why she wasn't Jane, but maybe... they're Jane Does, but maybe it's Sahara. She was the reason she's found on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara Boulevard. Oh. In a parking lot of what was called like the El Rancho Casino. It's no longer there.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, way before you were born, sir. Way before I ever went there.
I spent a lot of time in
the corner of Sahara and Las Vegas. Yeah. This doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I don't know that Joshua's actually trying to kill me, but I'm allergic to something in this room, and there's just me and him. So no, it's not this room. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I apologize for all the coughing and the snotty nose and the other shit that's going on. It makes me sound like Harvey Fierstein right now. So that's okay, right?
Sure.
That's how people can tell us apart.
Harvey Fierstein's
They're like,
really sexy.
It's 2 guys. One of them has a much deeper voice. And that guy's name is Melissa. It's so weird. So weird how that...
There's this high-pitched Joshua guy.
Yeah, and there's a woman.
And he doesn't say much.
Or a guy, woman, man, right? Who's got a man's voice, but she says she's a woman. I don't know. If you only knew how often that happens to me. Anyway, okay, Sahara Sue. She's 19 years old. We know now. Her name is Gwenn Marie Story, and she had left Cincinnati looking for her biological father. Now, I'm a little confused why. I mean, I guess I'm not confused because she was found in Las Vegas, but why are Vegas police what appears to be the only people working on this case? I would think Cincinnati police would be too, but maybe because
Oh,
she left Cincinnati of her own volition and her body was found in Las Vegas, maybe that's why it's a Las Vegas centric investigation. But here's the thing.
sure.
They don't know if the two men who went with her, friends from
Mhm.
Cincinnati, returned back home and said, we
Oh.
left her there.
They left. They say they left her there
Yeah.
alive. They were.
Uh-huh.
They all went out there on vacation
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
to look for her dad. Maybe they were all traveling a road trip.
and then, she
She
decided
decided
to
to
stay.
stay. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Right. Now, why aren't those two men being investigated? Because they
Hmm.
do not know that those two men are not responsible for her death.
They're not at all being investigated.
I don't know if they know who they are.
Oh.
44 years later,
Oh.
here are all my questions.
Yeah. Wow.
Why aren't they being investigated? Does the family, who is still alive,
Right.
who are thanking Las Vegas PD and Othram Labs for identifying her and saying if we didn't have this
Mhm.
information 44 years later, we wouldn't know where she was.
Got it.
Do they know the names of the two men she went with? I think they probably would.
So from their perspective, she went out on this trip to go find the dad and with two guys, and then she never came back.
Right.
And they didn't know if she was alive or dead
Right.
or running
Whatever
around
happened to
Vegas
her. Yep.
or
Mhm.
anything
Yep.
until 44 years later.
Yep. When her remains are identified.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
Yeah. That's intense.
So we know her family's still alive because they're thanking Las Vegas PD.
Okay.
Las Vegas PD says the men who went with her are likely still alive. I don't know how or why they know that, but they're looking for the names of the two men.
And the family won't just say, "Oh yeah,
Maybe
this is who she went with."
maybe the people who knew have passed away.
Okay.
But wouldn't you think it would be somewhere in your family history? Like maybe mom and grandma are not still here. Maybe they are. She was only 19. You know, maybe the
Sure.
mom is, or the mom and dad or whatever. Maybe there's no older relative who's still alive. But wouldn't they have said, you know what?
Got it.
When I'm gone, brothers, sisters, cousins, will you please make sure if something happens, you know, the two guys that went with Gwenn, here's their names.
Yeah, if that was a detail that they would have thought to pass on.
There had to be a report because someone made a
Yeah.
missing persons report and they had to say, hey, she went with two guys. They came back. She didn't.
Right.
Those names have to be there somewhere.
I would
So
think
why is Las Vegas police having trouble identifying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have way too many questions.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, even for 44 years old, and this gives me hope because Joshua and I are trying to do everything we can on another 44-year-old case of Tom Starkle. It gives me hope that even at 44 years, a case can be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So she leaves to go look for her biological father. The two men with her come back. The investigator with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, Terry Miller, says, and this was just a few days ago, says, those two men are likely still alive. Now, there were witnesses at the time of her murder because I have way too many questions about this case. She was only apparently dead for 2 to 3 hours in this parking lot of the El Rancho casino, and yet her face was unidentifiable.
Oh God.
I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
She was not shot in the face or maybe she was pummeled, but her death was caused by several stabs to the abdomen.
So several stabs to the abdomen. She bleeds out, and the body's found a couple hours later, and it's already
face down in a parking lot. Why is she unidentifiable facially?
Is it have something to do with the desert climate? It's
a parking lot.
Is that beef jerky you like really fast? Well,
I don't know.
There are parts of the world that just suck the moisture out of a body quick.
But a couple of hours
sounds
2 to 3 hours.
fast.
Like the same day, not, it wasn't dark. It was daylight. Scavengers, would they have like started eventually, but she's not face up, she's face down. So they couldn't have even, so I don't know. I don't understand a lot about this case. So, I'm mad at you, Jerry, for sending it. No, I'm kidding. It's a really good case. So this is kind of an odd composite sketch of a man that she was seen with shortly before her body was discovered. So she was seen at a liquor store somewhere at the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara Boulevard. And so probably on one of the corners across from the El Rancho casino is a liquor store. So she was seen at this liquor store with this man who 6 feet tall, thin, but he had a different color mustache from the color of his hair. This is according to the clerk in the liquor store. So there's like the sketch. Looks like Tony Orlando.
Yeah.
Perhaps Tony Orlando and Dawn were performing there.
That was
tie a yellow ribbon round. And he decides to take out a poor 19-year-old girl. Yeah. So Tony Orlando.
You are now a suspect.
Yeah. Or Freddie Fender. Wasted days and wasted nights. It's Tony Orlando or Freddie Fender. I don't know who it is, but it's one of those performers.
A lounge act.
Right, it's a lounge act from Las Vegas. This picture is a little bit fuckery, but I will put it up. It's like someone spilled water on it.
Yeah, it's a sketch.
It's a murky sketch. Oh God, it could also be fucking Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh.
It's Edgar Allan Poe.
Who came back to life.
Yeah. It's an Edgar Allan Poe impersonator. He was appearing at the Edgar Allan Poe Experience at the El Rancho Casino.
This weekend only.
Yeah.
The El Rancho Casino.
The Edgar Allan Poe Experience, Tony Orlando, or Freddie Fender. It's one of those three men. We've narrowed it down. You are welcome. That's Las Vegas Metro. Yeah. Am I wrong?
This is why you send stuff to us.
Yeah,
we are
because we are solvers. Yeah, look at that. What is? Am I wrong?
No.
Okay,
no,
thank you. All right,
wrong.
So I will put the picture up, but it's like this is not helpful. I will try to find a better version of it. This is not helpful at all. This is the one released by Las Vegas Metro. All right, so but I do have actually a beautiful.
And she's. Just wow.
No, she's gorgeous, but I want to show you something. There's odd things about her. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I would like to show you the difference between a Las Vegas Metro sketch and one done by Carl Kopelman. And you have to understand, he is going by, autopsy photos.
Okay.
So she was 19, but she had no teeth. She had dentures.
Got it.
So she was found with her top dentures, but they were wedged in her mouth. Maybe after you die, they move.
It shifts. Okay.
The bottom dentures were missing. And she had uppers and lowers.
Okay.
This is one of the things I wanted to, actually, I wish I could have talked to Dr. Tony about it. She had very distinctive clothing on also, which Carl Kopelman did a drawing of the clothing, but we actually have pictures of the clothing. So I know I'm skipping a little bit ahead, but so here's Gwenn Marie Story, her picture. Yeah. She's such a beautiful girl.
Pretty, yeah.
Look at this picture Carl Kopelman did.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
He nailed it.
He is a magician.
Wow.
He is a magician. I've often said he gets information from another source, like he is an open channel. He is the most phenomenal artist. I mean, it really.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a post-mortem drawing, and what he did is Gwenn Marie Story with a little bit different hair.
I mean, sure.
Her hair is styled for that picture, like her high school picture. Hair, yeah. And I mean, I can't even, he's a magician.
That's amazing.
So I'm going to put the picture of Tony Orlando up. I'm going to put the picture of Gwenn Marie Story, just in case somebody from Ohio, remembers her.
Yeah.
And the picture Carl Kopelman did, because they are too good to not
Yeah,
share
that's
because
not-
his work is like magnificent. So Gwenn Marie Story, 19 years old, her body was unidentified for 44 years. And, there was one other missing young girl who had dentures at her age. And there is so much speculation. Why did Gwenn have dentures at 19? Before she was identified, people were like, oh, could she be Amish? Because a lot of Amish people like have dentures. They don't go to
Oh,
the dentist.
okay.
Yeah, interesting. Could she be Mormon? Apparently that's a Mormon
That's a
thing.
thing.
I don't
Okay.
know. The Amish part I can see.
Hmm.
The Mormon part I don't really understand. It would be odd to me that someone in Cincinnati who grew up in Cincinnati would have uppers and lowers unless there were some really big, deep dental issue. Yeah. And even with dentures, I mean, she's so beautiful. She was a beautiful young girl. So here's like a few details about her. 5'6", between 100 and 105 pounds. I love that her age was estimated between 15 and 25, and she was 19. They just fucking nailed it.
Yeah, wow.
Just fucking nailed it. So the maxillary piece was discovered in her mouth. That's the uppers.
Okay.
And the mandibular piece was not ever found. Never recovered.
Okay. It fell out somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe during an assault.
Right.
There is some evidence that whoever did this redressed her. She was in her clothing, but perhaps like her lower clothing had been removed and then put back on. Not in a great way. Her nails on her hands and on her feet were both manicured and painted with a red sparkly polish. So she was wearing Levi hip huggers jeans, and the shirt was really unique. It's kind of a blue, it looks a little like a denim shirt. So there's a drawing that Carl Kopelman did, but there's also actual picture of the shirt we can show. They said it's made of linen, but it looks like a very thin denim.
Okay.
There's a tie at the waist. It has red embroidered designs at the top, like flowers and sequins. Her shoes were not found. And, there's evidence that the killer had removed her clothing at one point and maybe put it back on, not in a great way. Right. So on her right hand, she had a ring made of white metal with no stone. She was wearing two necklaces, one made of white metal. One pendant had a leaf design with a little round piece of turquoise. We have pictures of the jewelry also, in case anyone remembers them. The other one was a heart-shaped piece of plastic with like a little flower inside, like a little dried flower inside this plastic rose. She was not wearing earrings and her ears were not pierced. So they had done a lot to try to identify her. Like, her fingerprints were taken and entered into databases and nothing was ever matched because she had not committed a crime. Right. Her body was exhumed in 2003 to obtain DNA. No match was found. In 2011, her DNA was tested against this other young girl that I mentioned, Deborah Ray Meyer. She had vanished in August of 1974, and she also had dentures. There were similarities in their, profiles, but the DNA did not match. So all of these, there were 7 other young girls that she was matched against, and none of them matched her. Everyone was ruled out. I mean, they did so much work to try and identify her. In 2016, there was some, major developments in pathology. They took the clothing she had on and tested that. So there is indications that she had spent some time in Napa Valley or the Central Valley of California. So it's like they went on this road trip. They went to California, but then maybe they were on their way home.
Okay.
Or maybe they just went to Vegas for a reason. I know, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I believe her biological father was supposed to be located in California, and that's where she was kind of headed. So it's interesting that she is, found but not identified in Las Vegas.
Okay.
To me, it's I need to know who the 2 guys who went with her.
Right.
I need to know what their story is.
Yeah, and where did they leave her? That's the
and
other.
Why did they leave her?
Yeah.
And after 44 years, do two people keep up the same story? If they do, then it's true. And if,
And if they were good enough friends to go out on a road trip, how did they not follow up?
Right.
And
whatever happened to Gwenn?
Yeah, where'd she go? What was? Yeah,
right.
Like,
pretty weird. So the way they figured out that she had spent time in Napa Valley or the Central Valley of California is so fascinating. On her clothing was a specific plant dust only found in that area.
Wow.
I love things
That's
like
cool.
that. Those little details are priceless. So there's a couple of other pieces of information, like she may have been tied to a trailer park in the area of, Napa Valley. She may have used the name Shauna, Shawna, or Shauna, who was employed at a Holiday Inn or other motels along Las Vegas Boulevard. So I don't know if she had tried to settle there. I don't know. There's just so much. But in September of 2022, Las Vegas Metro Police submitted forensic evidence to Othram, our beloved friends at Othram Labs, Doctors David and Kristen Middleman, and they were able to successfully extract DNA using their forensic grade genome sequencing that they developed all on their own, the only lab using it. And they built a DNA profile for a woman and then matched it, to familial DNA.
Cool.
So in December 19th, just recently of 2023, Sahara Sue was formally identified as Gwenn Marie Story. During the course of the investigation, investigators were told by her family that she had left Cincinnati in the summer of 1979 with two male friends, and she was traveling, to California in search of her biological father. And then she never made contact with her family again. So it does look like, the two friends returned to Cincinnati in August of 79 and told her family that, we left her in Vegas. Now it says investigators are currently seeking more information on her two friends. Yeah, why do not we have this?
Right.
I sounded like the Tasmanian devil. Why do not you have this? Why for you bury me in the cold, cold ground? I sounded exactly like Tasmanian devil. I didn't mean to do that. And again, I'm so like, why is it Las Vegas Metro PD that, wants the information? They have a Crime Stoppers number I will be giving you. I don't know that I understand why Cincinnati isn't more involved. Why isn't Cincinnati involved?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at least for the Vegas PD to collaborate,
right?
Call up and say, hey, can you guys, can
right,
we do
shed some light on this?
Yeah,
I wonder if
send
they're
one
not
of your detectives to investigate,
right,
interview these friends
who's left, the family members that can give you the. I'm wondering if maybe they're just not. I mean, there's absolutely zero mention of Cincinnati in here, except that that's where she's from.
Yeah,
I don't get it, and maybe it's all just not released. But
okay, sure.
I'm gonna try to see if I can find out more information from Cincinnati PD, but I will tell you that there's a Crime Stoppers number, Las Vegas local, 702-385-5555. I'll have these in the show notes. There's also crimestoppersofnv.com, N, letter V for Nevada.com. You can report anything you might know about Gwenn Marie Story or who she was traveling with there. I'm going to try to find out what I can. So Coleraine Township is a city, kind of a bedroom community around Cincinnati. So I don't know if it's under Cincinnati PD's jurisdiction or if they had their own PD.
Got it.
So I'm going to try to find out what I can about that. But for now, you have the Las Vegas phone number and the Crime Stoppers email address. So case 2, courtesy of Tipster Jerry, is a missing woman who has never been found. And it is a good one. Holy cow, is this fucking fascinating. So Cynthia Jane Anderson disappeared from Toledo, Ohio. She was born there. She was 20 years old, 5'4", 115 pounds, Caucasian female with brown hair and brown eyes. She has 2 scars, a fish hook shaped scar on the inside of her right knee and a chickenpox scar on her forehead. So in 1981, 20-year-old Cindy Anderson was having really weird dreams that scared her, where she was abducted from her home and then murdered by a stranger.
Whoa.
She told her mother about these dreams and, but she just didn't take them seriously. She had them for like a year.
Oh, wow.
And told her mom, like, I keep having this dream where I'm abducted from, our home and murdered.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, so I'm going to say some things here. This is odd, but I think when you hear the details, I don't know that Cindy didn't disappear on her own.
Oh, there is a theory, though, that she just ran away, or?
If there is, they've kept it to themselves.
Got it.
It's my theory because this is hard to explain.
Okay.
And when you know that whether she was getting precognitive information via dreams or setting up a story.
Setting it up. Gotcha.
Yes. That can be up to you to decide.
Got it. Okay.
So in 1981, she is a legal secretary and she works at a law firm. On August 4th of 1981, she arrives at her office. During the morning, she usually worked alone. The attorneys would come in later. She always kept the door locked because, of fear of intruders, because she was by herself. At 12 p.m., 2 of her coworkers arrived and found the office empty. The doors were locked. The mail had already been brought in. A radio, the lights, and the air conditioners were all on. It's August in Toledo. You need the air conditioning.
Got it.
One coworker was surprised that the book that Cindy was reading was opened to the only violent part in the book. And there was evidence that suggested she had met with foul play. Now, they're not releasing what evidence that is, but they're saying it appears she's been abducted, despite having all the doors to the office locked and an alarm to alert her if there was ever an intruder.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
She was raised in a very strict religious environment, and she was planning on quitting her job in 2 weeks and going to Bible college with her boyfriend.
Okay.
Her father said, I noticed she's been dieting and focusing a lot more on her appearance lately in these last weeks before her disappearance.
Okay.
Maybe there's a new person in her life.
Yeah.
These are just theories that we're putting out there. These are just our opinions. So the police found the only missing items were her car keys and her purse. There was no evidence of forced entry or a struggle in the office. There were no calls that were answered by her after 10 a.m., so it's believed she was abducted around that time.
I'm sorry, there no signs of forced entry, but there was signs of violence?
It doesn't say signs of violence. It says there were signs that foul play was suspected in her disappearance.
What are those that...
I guess they hold those close so that if you were involved, you would only know those details.
Okay.
The only thing missing, there's a little bit more. We're going to get to a little bit more. The only things missing are her car keys and her purse.
Okay.
The alarms are set. The doors are locked.
Yeah.
She's not there. Her book is open to the only violent part of the book. No calls answered after 10 a.m. No sign of forced entry. Okay. So weird things happened around her. Again, I am not casting aspersions on Cindy. I'm just saying some of these things are a little too weird.
Okay.
So a client of the law firm, Larry Mullins, claimed that the day before she vanished, she received several strange calls from an unidentified person that upset her very much. And he said he was sitting there in the office and heard two of these calls.
Okay, so he heard her end of these calls and she was upset.
Yeah.
Okay.
He asked her if there was something wrong, and she stated that she had been receiving weird phone calls. She didn't say what they were about, and it's unknown if they're connected to this case.
Okay.
Another lead that police were working on was an unidentified man who has since been identified, but he wrote "I Love You, Cindy" by GW on a wall, like a graffiti on a wall near the office.
Huh.
Cindy noticed it 10 months before her disappearance, and then it was covered up. But it took 6 months. I don't know why it would take 6 months to cover it up. And then a few weeks after it was covered up, it appeared again.
Oh. Okay.
"I Love You, Cindy" by GW. They questioned several people with the initials GW, including a maintenance man who had keys to the office.
Oh.
But there's no evidence that could directly tie him to the disappearance.
Wow.
So she goes missing. All of this is just a little. Please forgive me my doubting, okay? She goes missing August of 1981 and September of 1981. Police receive an anonymous tipster call, and it was from a woman, and claimed that Cindy was being held against her will. The tipster appeared nervous and refused to give the investigator her name. She claimed that Cindy was being held in the basement of a white house and that there were two houses side by side that were owned by the same family, like a duplex or two units, two houses. The family was out of town, but their son was home, and he was holding her captive. But the tipster did not give the address. When the investigator asked for more information and her name, she hung up. A few minutes later, she called back, and there was another investigator on the line trying to listen. And then she hung up again and has not called back since. And it is not known if her information was legitimate.
Wow.
So her case was aired on Unsolved Mysteries in 1990. So 9 years after she went missing. But here's something pretty interesting. In November of 1995, a federal jury handed down 25 indictments of 9 individuals charged with a large drug distribution ring in Toledo.
Okay.
2 of those indicted were her employers.
Oh.
Richard Neller and Jose Rodriguez Jr. Rodriguez was allegedly the ringleader of the drug ring, and Neller was an attorney and was also involved. In the same month, police announced that they believed that Cindy had been killed by Neller because she overheard conversations between him and Rodriguez about the operation.
Okay.
While Rodriguez was on trial for the drug charges, a witness testified that he had confessed to killing Cindy. He allegedly did so to send a message to Neller because he did not adequately represent him at the first trial. But police could not confirm the confession, and the case remains officially unsolved. Both Neller and Rodriguez are still alive, and they're serving prison sentences for drug trafficking, and they're still suspects in the case. Cindy's mother passed away in 1983, just 2 years after Cindy disappeared, and her father, Michael, passed away in January of 2008.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still mad at Jerry for sending me this. Because talk about a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he sent it with a series of like 40 people who've gone missing in central Ohio, or their murders are unsolved. And this one just jumped out at me.
Oh, why in particular? I mean,
because of all of the details. And I will just be
these
honest with you,
details, okay.
it felt to me like she orchestrated her own disappearance. And I feel terrible saying that because maybe she did not.
Sure.
I mean, there's just no proof of anything. I think in 1981 security, can you get through an office that was set up with security because you're a woman working alone? Can someone get through, unless it would be the janitorial guy who has keys?
Okay.
And it apparently was seen that he wasn't involved. Maybe he had a airtight alibi. I don't know. Only thing missing, if she's going to be abducted, would she take her keys and purse?
Oh, okay.
Would they take that with them?
Well, okay. The other side of that, I don't disagree with your thing,
Okay.
but
No, please.
But on the other side, okay, somebody comes in, maybe that she knows or knows a little bit, knows enough to let into her locked door,
Okay.
and not buzz the alarm. And then while that person's inside, some sort of struggle, and maybe there's a weapon, holds her, and says, "Take your keys and your purse and lock this door behind you,
Oh, okay. All right.
and come with me," and then
That's interesting.
abducts her in her car.
I was going to say a struggle. I was like, there was no evidence of a struggle.
Well,
but I know what you're saying. If you have a gun, who's going to struggle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grab your keys and your purse
And let's go.
and lock this door. Now you drive to this place, whatever.
I'm that I get. I agree with you there. I think that's a pretty interesting theory. I think that could absolutely be a theory. I think Cynthia Jane Anderson's case is fascinating as fuck.
Yeah, wow.
It's odd that there's obviously familial DNA somewhere. It's odd that if remains have been found somewhere, they have not been tied to her, so maybe no remains have been found. I'm not convinced Cindy didn't remove herself.
Sure, yeah.
Start a new life somewhere. But what do I know?
Yeah.
I just host a podcast. But if someone knows anything about this case, which is a fascinating one, thanks a lot, Jerry, please consider contacting the Toledo Police Department at 419-255-8443, because I mean, it is a fascinating case to me. It's very fascinating. It's similar to another case of a woman, I believe she might have been in Canada, who orchestrated her own disappearance and death.
Gone Girl?
No.
Oh,
it's a real case. Her name was Cindy, and she was a nurse.
Right. Oh,
same name.
Wow.
I know. I don't think that Cindy Anderson took the idea. It's just odd that the similarities are very. And it was over a guy.
Well, of course. Yeah. And that's the part that makes your theory really stand out. Mm-hmm. Is if she's about to have a big change with her boyfriend.
They're not even engaged.
Oh, no, okay.
Going to the same Bible school.
That's okay. So you're going to get cold feet, and you can't tell.
How do you get out? Yeah, you can't tell your family, who's very, very religious, and you've been raised like this.
And also, you're watching your own appearance and trying to gussy yourself up for the new guy.
Maybe.
I don't know. It sounds very viable to me.
I think there's several theories. Several things could have happened. Maybe, terrible things done to her, or maybe she disappeared herself. I don't know. But if you have any information, please call the Toledo PD. Please know you can always contact us with any information you might have. You can call us about a missing person or unsolved homicide, or if you just want to suggest a case like the evil Jerry did, these two cases, you can call us at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can always email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms, just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JT Tipsters on Instagram, at JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.